baby. It's another I'm the -1. Oh my god. Fuck. Fuck. That was it. That was it. I don't know why I just stopped strumming. Oh. 92 streak is gonna carry with me for fucking ever. Oh no, 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 no. What? Oh, fuck me. Missed the strum. I elbow strum that, but it's a necessary sacrifice for me. Oh my god, that hurts so fucking bad. I cannot even put into words. I could not even come to terms with having hit 2A in a run like that. Oh my god. I practiced the outro before I started doing runs. I hit it 10 times in a row. Can't even say anything else. I gotta get back to this. I gotta erase this sting. You know what to do. There it is. There it fucking is. There it is! Guitar Hero full series 100% full combo. Unbelievable. 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 Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. 17 years in the making. I can't even say speechless because everybody and their fucking mother knows that that's a lie. Everybody in my neighborhood now knows that that's a lie after hearing that. But oh my god. I did it. Dude. That is the, like, 6th total time I've hit 2A. Yesterday I hit it for the first time after my longest session practicing this ever at 2.5 hours. I was just completely dead, my strumming shoulder, my elbow, everything. And I had that all recorded, but it was like a 45 gig file, and I would have had to remux it, which means creating a duplicate to use it in an editing program. And whatever, and I just don't have a lot of space, so I decided to delete that to make sure I can record runs. And today I got on, and I'm kind of on like an alternating schedule kind of day where, long story short, one day I generally have a lot more energy than the other day, and today is one of those less energy days, and I'm doing even more stuff than I normally do on these days, so I expected to not have a lot of energy. And I went through this whole spiel in the first time I FC'd 2A yesterday, going through the whole process of how that went. And one thing I touched on was the fact that there are just days where if you're like not a great strummer like me, you will just not have the, I don't know, you just will not always have the speed and energy to hit 2A, especially, you know, again, if you're really building up that speed to get to it. And it's a very demoralizing endeavor when that happens. You just kind of have to accept it and move on. And again, I expected this to be one of those days, but for some reason I got on and I hit 2A twice in the span of like 10 minutes. And then I said, you know, this is just going to turn into one of these like Trogdor ballroom blitz kind of situations where it's just better to try to just get this at this point in a run and then hold it together. And that outro choke I had was within 30 minutes of starting runs. And for reference, at this point still is very modest. I'm incredibly happy with this quote-unquote grind. This has been 2 hours since starting runs, but man, going through an outro choke like that within such a short time frame of starting runs is, oh my god, that was so hard to deal with mentally. On top of that, I felt myself, the longer that I was doing runs, I felt my stamina kind of decreasing, where I just wasn't getting as many good runs, because that's the thing about when you first start going for an FC, especially one like this where it's really you're focusing on one individual section. Your adrenaline and just your overall energy and excitement is so much higher the first like few runs you do, because you're all, in the back of your mind you're just hoping that it will be some miracle, and I almost had that miracle, but dude, I no room to complain ever. I so like I said, that outro choke was incredibly difficult mentally for me, and I consider myself someone with fairly strong mentality when it comes to this stuff. I know I'm negative and kind of self-loathing in a lot of these video reactions and whatnot, but it's all just, this stuff kind of sucks to do, right? Like, I don't know, nobody really talks about this for some reason, but yeah, this stuff is not always enjoyable. And especially for these higher tier accomplishments, it's very often not at all enjoyable past the first like short while. But I still feel like I have pretty good mental fortitude to push myself and to keep myself on track and in a decent mindset. But that outro choke was so defeating to me. I can't believe I'm looking at this screen right now, man. Even the full series aside, this is such a crazy thing for my previous abilities. Like, I just can't believe this, man. I'm dead serious when I say that, like, back in the day, even amongst my friends that were, you know, no offense to them or anything, but on a lower tier of the skill ladder, at least in terms of, like, accomplishments, I have always been a god-awful strummer. I did not think I was going to get Ties That Bind 2 months ago. And here I am, at the fastest strumming in the entire series at, what, 22 to 23 notes per second. With an FC of the entire song. This is within 24 hours of me hitting 2A for the first time. This is just, oh my god. I don't really... I don't know what I can say right now, man. I just don't. This is the end of an era for me in my lifetime, and you know, I understand this is the case for a lot of players, even the people who did this back then. It's crazy, as absolutely insane as that was. I just watched and left a comment on a video by this guy named Bismuth. Does a lot of really great breakdown videos, and his most recent video was a runner finally beat Super Mario 64 without using the A button, and he says the name of the runner, and it gets me thinking, like, wait, what? It's Marbler. Super Marble 94 is the guy that beat Super Mario 64 without an A press. Just absolutely insane. He was the first person, for anybody who doesn't know, to get a full series FC back in, well, quote, a true full series FC. I don't want to get into everything around that because it's kind of sad at this point. Rest in peace, Oddballs Frank. But yeah, and that was Marble's accomplishment was in early 2011. To think that there's been 13 years, over 13 years separating the first accomplishment of that regard and this. Obviously it's a bit limited by the fact that, you know, Warriors of Rock, the last game, came out in late 2010, but whatever. Anyway, sorry for getting completely sidetracked there. I was just very in awe of when I heard the news of the Mario 64 achievement that Marbler got, and the fact that, you know, he carries over. That guy is just obviously somebody that is just going to push the boundaries of whatever he puts his mind to. You know, this actually kind of puts me in a weird spot, because I was waiting for a 2AFC to upload Hangar 18, the GH5 DLC, but there's no way I'm going to upload that before this, so it's like, now I'm going to have this FC with all this annoying choke footage and all whatnot, all this ranting come after this upload. It's just going to be awkward to put together. I guess I'll go into a bit into the process of where. I guess I'll go a bit into the process of 2A, because that was a journey, man. I don't know how many hours I spent in 2A, but it was just one of those things. Me and Sleeper Wave both have been just. I mean, him so more than me, and I'm gonna feel bad if I have got this before him, because that guy has been like solely focusing on this, whereas I've been able to like at least branch out and do the other two strumming songs, which are not as insane or not as intense, I guess, in their single section absurdity. But anyway, for the time investment in 2A, probably 30 hours. It probably took me as long to hit that one section, if not longer, honestly. It's been like basically this entire month I've been practicing this section on and off. There was probably like a 2-week break where, when I was really starting to grind Devil and Dueling Banjos, that I wasn't practicing this. But even that being said, yeah, probably 30 hours of practice went into 2A, which, for reference, is about as long as I spent on Flame Smash Hits altogether. On PS2, where it takes 1,000,000 hours to load and the game's a piece of shit. So, it kind of, the song kind of played out the way I thought it would, where just getting that section for the first time was this gigantic, mountainous obstacle, and then actually getting it in an FC run again, it's as absolutely bananas as that could have been. I could have had this within 30 minutes of doing runs, which I was gonna mention this earlier, but part of me like getting over the outro choke that was just tearing my mentality to shreds was me justifying it by the fact that I did not deserve to get Dueling Banjos when I did. That was kind of karma in and of itself because of the whole microphone situation, missing the reaction. I'm still bummed about that, but so that was a bit of instant karma for that situation. But even like Triplet, was again, it was just one of those where I didn't spend that much time in runs, but learning the solo, even with states, was absolutely fucking brutal on emulator. But then I can't even say that, like, oh, I got, I have all this, like, built-up luck from Triplet that I needed to release, because that all went from Hangar 18. So really, I was just doing some mental gymnastics to try to give myself a little bit of, like, understanding and, try to put that choke into perspective, because oh my god, that was so painful, man. With this much on the line, that's the thing too. The fact that I only had one, I am just so grateful for. One outro choke. It was one more than I wanted, but I'll fucking take it, man. The important thing is I learned from it. I watched the video back, and what happened is something that I wasn't really anticipating happening, and so it kind of makes sense in hindsight. Basically, the first strum note of the outro, the real, like, hammer-on heavy outro, is between two notes of the same fret, and, I was anticipating it just being incredibly awkward to elbow strum that under that kind of pressure, and it was, even this run, but what I wasn't really anticipating is what ended up happening in that outro choke, which is that I strummed, I think I strummed on time enough, but I hadn't released blue yet, and I guess, like, for whatever reason, the extended hit window fret mechanics just kind of failed me in that instance, but I ended up strumming the blue note, I'm pretty sure, after that strum yellow, and so that's why I missed, kind of like a slider note situation. But again, the important thing is that I reviewed that footage, as painful as that was to watch that back, and I learned from it. and I didn't make the same mistake, and that's all you can ask for, man. Even if you have 1,160 chokes on this song on every single note, if you learn from it and stay conscious and put it and apply it to your next run, you're gonna make it. I'm also just so glad I didn't have any stupid chokes on that final slider trill. Slider notes, for all their shortcomings, seem to, and I know this is gonna sound absolutely bizarre due to Satch Boogie, but this isn't actually really the problem with Satch Boogie, in my opinion. The problem with Satch Boogie Solo D is that the trill changes anchor notes, and quite frequently. But for regular trills, in my experience, you should actually try to abuse trills in slider notes, because the real problem with missing in slider note trills is that if you release the anchor and then try to hit the lower notes, you end up going past the higher notes. And so I wasn't really worried about having that choke in the outro, but regardless, I'm incredibly happy that I didn't. Back to 2A real quick. This is kind of awkward because, like I said, the first time I hit 2A, I went through like a little monologue describing the process, but now I'm not using that footage. That footage doesn't exist anymore. But so I'm trying to remember anything that I really wanted to touch on about it. The big takeaway that anyone should have going for 2A is that section is just as much about fretting as it is about strumming. Because I've heard some things from people, even people who've got this FC, that are like, it's all about the strumming. Like, the game will just forgive your fretting if you strum fast enough, which I guess if you're strumming like a fucking insane person, like 30 notes a second, maybe that's true, just because the game just eats the rest of your strum inputs that aren't on accurate fretting, and so that's how they got it. But for us mere mortals, your fretting has to be on point if you want this, and that is something that I neglected for, not intentionally, by the way. It's just I just was always assuming that my strumming speed was the problem, and so I went from getting my first to 99% to, like, seriously probably a week straight of just like downward trajectory, and it was so defeating. And I was getting like consistent minus like 10s, and I just assumed that, I was just like, well, alright, I guess that's it, my strumming ability's gone, there goes the hopes of this. But it was almost all in the fretting. I had a temporary band-aid fix for the fretting by anchoring, and I don't think that ended up being a good call, which obviously I'm not using that anymore. But the reason I was doing that initially is because, I just thought it seemed to help A, in the very last set of strumming and dueling banjos, but B, it was just theory crafting that it would provide the most engine leniency by still allowing you to hit notes on the lower frets. But the problem is that, it just, especially when you're under that kind of strain, it's just, I think, a little too hard to accurately fret on at least the higher frets, and also let go of those higher frets accurately enough. So maybe in an ideal world it is the best method, but another benefit about anchoring is that you get a lot more stability on the neck of the guitar, which helps you really hone in and focus on strumming strength and speed. So yeah, again, ideally maybe that's the best way to do it if you can really accurately fret those, but it didn't seem to work long term for me. It was just kind of about getting me back on track. And where I really started to make progress was like 2 days ago. I finally broke through my like low 80 note streak cap and made it to the yellow, blue, orange notes. And my note streak a couple days ago capped out at 88, and I kept getting that over and over. But it's progress. Yesterday I made a lot more progress, obviously, And the big breakthrough there was to stop fretting the yellow, blue, orange with my middle ring and pinky, and to bring my first 3 fingers down for those, which I'd been doing initially. It's just, yeah, I had all these like method changes, just seeing what worked, what didn't, what actually worked on slower speeds, and trying to like build on that foundation. But it turned out my initial, you know, ideas and the most straightforward ideas seemed to be the ones that worked the best. And then from there, it was really just about like cleaning up. Well, from there, actually, after I finally broke the 88 street cap. It was kind of funny. I had this like very incremental climb from there, where I got 89 and then 90 a couple times, and then 91, and then finally I hit 92, and I just got absolutely stonewalled there for like 2 hours, because the final fretting pattern is just really awkward, for me at least. Like, I'm pretty sure what was going on was it was either one of 2 things. The first is that I would stop strumming prematurely, and the second, and I think more prominent issue, is that I would fret the last orange note too early, and that was a really hard habit to break, because in general it's just so difficult to accurately fret when you are under this kind of strain for someone of my ability. But also another thing I have to mention is the only overstrum that I had in 2A was the first time making it past the making it to the like orange sustain. It should be 96 notes, and I had 100% overstrum before I FC'd the section for the first time. And that was really hard, but looking back, you know, I didn't think overstrums would be a big deal even at the end, because those 2 notes are such great buffers for eating like overstrum inputs. And you're by the time you get to the end of the actual strumming, you're likely, if you're me, going to be so far behind that those 2 notes are going to be perfect for just eating those overstrum. And I guess that's what ended up happening. So all I mean to say is, yeah, no overstrums on in runs, and it was only that one in practice, which is just wow. But yeah, all of that is to say that, man, this was such a journey and I knew it was going to be. I knew that if I was ever going to get this in my life, it would be like the battle of fucking Pelennor Fields. Like, I'm just looking down at those 100,000 orcs, imagining they're all notes at 22 notes per second strumming. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just saying that this lived up to the idea that I had of it, but doing runs really didn't. And so in that regard, I still feel like I got super lucky with this, man. I know I've been talking for so long at this point. I mean, not really compared to my old videos, like the videos I made a year ago, which I still regret a lot of that stuff, but whatever. It's just so hard to like find the words for what this means, because essentially this is it. There's still stuff I can do with rhythm games. I mean, even, you know, 5-fret guitar rhythm games. There's a ton of Rock Band DLC. You know, obviously don't take this too much to heart, but I'm like 99% never going to go for a Rock Band full series FC, because the thought of doing like Lego Rock Band, Green Day Rock Band, and fucking Beatles Rock Band, just, ugh, God. That just sounds so incredibly boring. And I just do not have the patience for that kind of filler anymore. Also, I don't even have those games, so all the Guitar Hero games I had still before coming back, so that was nice. But as far as Rock Band, I've pretty much FC'd the first 3 games. I never got Rock Band 4. I do have an Xbox One, an old one my brother gave me, so I would be able to do that, but I doubt I will. The main thing that I would do if I went back to Rock Band is just go for a bunch of DLC FCs that I had from back in the day. But I don't know if I see the point of that. A big thing is that, you know, I kind of just... I'm sorry if this is like, I don't know, I kind of just wanted to put this behind me, you know? Like, this has been something that so many of these different songs and games have just been in the back of my mind for so long now. It's gonna feel really weird to not have anything to do in this series anymore, but as far as Guitar Hero, I mentioned this in a couple videos now, I could at least try to get the rest of the GH3 DLC and just play that through vanilla 60 FPS GH3 PC. Just totally finish off that game. I seriously doubt I will ever come to a point where I want to do that with any of the later games. But, you know, again, for like World Tour, I've already FC'd all the most difficult DLC. Same with GH3, really. It's just like a couple songs that, just that game in particular is like important enough to me that I might want to just truly finish it off if I can. But doing all the console stuff that I still have is good, and it's good enough for me to where if I never was able to play this game again, I would still feel satisfied with what I've done. Of course, the GH2 and 80s score situation still kind of up in the air, but the more I've thought about that over these past couple months that I've been without doing it, I don't know if I feel really inclined to go back to that, even if I were to get a perfectly working SG with like, even if like with like mech frets and just a great whammy bar and everything, you know, it was just full steam ahead for that, just because, you know, the games are just so intrinsically flawed with that lag calibration situation that just, you know, I'm sure it's not that hard to understand that like putting your all and tons of time into like scores that could just be, you know, beaten because of that glitch that is just completely outside of the realm just isn't super appealing. I know people have drawn parallels between extended hit window and that lag calibration glitch. I think that is not a very intelligent argument, but regardless, I think people that don't utilize extended hit window probably feel like a similar kind of thing about that, even though it's, again, less founded. But yeah, I really don't know if I'm ever gonna go back to quote-unquote finish that, but you never know. You know, I also just want to be clear that I'm only human. Like, if I get some insane itch to play these games again, you know, I need to just let myself be happy and do not hold myself to these strict standards for no reason. So if I go back on it, I go back on it. You know, you never know what the future will hold. And in that same topic, you know, I really feel like my relationship with these games, if there is one after this, is going to be a lot different, is going to be a lot more positive. And I don't know, maybe there will be a time like, you know, back in like 2014, even though it'll be different because I still had so much stuff to do at that point, but where I just play these games just for fun and it actually works. It was a lot different back then. Clone Hero wasn't a thing. I guess it wouldn't be a terrible idea to also touch on that, you know, where I stand in like customs and why I haven't ever really gotten into them in a large scale sense. It's just because the big, I guess, problem that I've always had with custom songs is the fact that, with few exceptions, like the Soulless series is a big exception, there's not a lot of, like, foundation, I guess is the best way I can describe it, in the way that there is for console and official release stuff, because, you know, not only is it the case that so many people just have so many different settings for their PC gameplay. This was a bigger deal back in the day when a lot of people like me had really shitty PCs and couldn't run GH3 PC at more than 200 FPS even without recording, like screen cap software. But anyway, like, yeah, just the way you play the game isn't like universal across everybody's experience, and I'm sure there's a lot of ignorance into what I'm saying, but that's a lesser point. The bigger point is just that the infinite amount of options that you have with custom songs and the near infinite amount of them that exist, it just means that like everyone has a different experience, kind of, or that if you go after a certain song, even like a difficult song or a notorious song, there's a chance that not only has like not everyone or like all other skilled players gone for it, but there's a chance that not that many people have gone for it too, and it just kind of creates this like divide in this already like a niche player base. This is actually something that I felt a lot with Rock Band DLC back in the day as well. There's just so much out there, especially when the Rock Band network kicked off, that you had just all these different players going for all these different songs, and not a lot of them were even like chasing the same thing. And that is just a very stark difference to like early on in Guitar Hero, where everybody was chasing these same songs like Through the Fire and Flames, Jordan, and that even extended into GH3P or DLC, where it's like every good player played the Virtuoso and Dragon Force and Boss Battle packs. They all went for it. So when somebody got it, it meant like a lot. Like everybody understood the gravity of that. And that's just something that I feel is just lost with, again, just the basically infinite options and charts and songs with customs, and a lot with Rock Band as well, where there's just so many difficult Rock Band songs that like Steph would get like first ever, and it's like after 15 years or whatever that those songs have been out, it's like that has to be such a big deal, and I will never even understand what goes into that. But that's kind of the problem, is that I don't understand what went into that. I've never even heard of most of these songs that were on there, and I was like a very active player during a lot of that time. So, that's just for my perspective why I haven't really gotten into customs, and why I don't think I will be getting into them going forward. So really I'm just discussing that as like a matter of blocking off this extension to this to my career in these games. I just don't see myself going down that path. Again, a huge shout out to my brother for this Explorer. It's wild to think that before, I received this a couple months ago, I had less than half of the full game FCs that I have now. I had done, in order, I believe, 80s, 3, Metallica, and then when I came back, I had done 2 except for Trogdor, which is like kind of an asterisk, especially for me, in my opinion, and 1. And I could have done Smash Hits because I had that on PS2 and did the hardest song by a mile, but I didn't, so I had 5 out of the 11 full game FCs in a little over 2 months now. Finished off the entire series. Man, what a year this has been. I officially came back, I guess, with a Slash Guitar Battle, but that was separated by at least a couple weeks from when like I really started putting more time into this stuff, which was picking up GH2 on PS2, and that was at the very start of May. So it's been, about 13 months, coincidentally with the stupid Lord of the Rings analogy I made earlier, the same amount of time took Frodo to go to the, to destroy the ring in Mount Doom from when he left the Shire, which is also kind of how I feel right now after having done this. I feel like Frodo and Sam just on the side of Mount Doom with lava pouring down, waiting for those eagles to pick me up. Oh my god, I'm such a fucking stupid asshole. But yeah, I wasn't active this entire year. I was pretty active in May, the May last year when I came back, when I did 2, then went straight to Flame Smash Hits, and then went straight to finishing GH1. And then after that, I pretty much took June off. I don't really think I played the game, like, at all. And then July, I came back for going for Jordan first place. And then after I got that, and then Beast and the Harlot, I cleaned up, like, a run on that. I kind of dipped out for, like, another month. Then I came back, got first on 6, which, you know, of course, have been beaten. Same with Jordan, so whatever. But I did that, like, Arterial Black, and then, you know, I was doing Raw Dog a lot in the background, just very intermittently, but overall, yeah, I didn't play very much for the next, like, 3 months, really, until November. And then November, pretty much I stayed fairly active from there, so it's been a solid 6 or 7 months that I've been, like, pretty active. And yeah, just again, this whole time I've been back is just really crazy to think about all this stuff that I knocked out. This is all, I know it's stupid just because it's a video game, but this is, you know, bucket list kind of stuff. Not necessarily stuff that I want to do before I die, because at some point I wasn't going to be able to go for this, but that's kind of a bucket list in itself. Doing things that, you know, you physically will not be capable of doing later in life. Like, I don't know, I just sincerely doubt as a 50-year-old man I would be able to strum at 23 notes a second. I doubted I would be able to do it now, and I couldn't do it when I was 15, so it's kind of like a moot point in that regard. But overall, just as ironic as this is, so many minutes into this god-awful rambling, just kind of speechless. There's just not really a lot you can say when a journey of this length comes to an end like this. So, let's go ahead and do a proper setlist scroll, because I can actually do that for this game. And a couple other games that I'm at least going to try to go through now, but here it is. This was one of the first, like, full game besides I'm the One that I was doing, just because, I don't know, most of these songs are kind of fun, and the setlist isn't too long. It was still pretty annoying, but not the worst. It really, like, built me up for doing, like, Aerosmith and smash hits. Games that really fucking GH5, boring as fuck and frustrating. Terrible experience. And I also have seen these. Might throw these in somewhere, maybe with Hangar 18, but this song was actually pretty hard. Go figure, the song that Danny made was pretty hard. So let's do an updated scroll of this game. I don't think this game has the problem of GH5 with the 5 stars instead of... What is this shit? Wow, really, man, this might be, like, my Xbox might be just on its deathbed anyway. Alright, there we go. Load it up properly. This game was actually really boring and annoying past these, past the first, like, this game has tons of great songs, obviously, and even, like, the worst stuff is not, like, GH5 level, but there was just so much here that a bulk of this was just absolutely boring, and, I think I did, like, 50 songs of this game in one, like, 5.5 hour session that rivaled the smash hits one day grind past those, like, first or 10 difficult songs. So yeah, this is a pretty great game, but was not free from the boredom and filler. I almost FC'd this entire album on Sight Red. I missed in this song after the main solo, like right after it, and I was pretty bummed about that. I mean, quote-unquote sight read, because you know, you have to play them in quest mode, but it's been so long that I don't even... I didn't remember them at all. I think this is the only Warriors of Rock DLC exclusive that I had. So all these others were FC'd on their original engines.